Very good morning to everyone here. Welcome to day 3 of the Commons Convening 2024. In this session, we're going to be talking about Pasture Commons and the evolving land use and governance systems that are there for pastures. So the session will highlight the status as well as the significance of Pasture Commons. And we're going to reiterate the need to ensure what community-led restoration and governance of these resources should be. And this is going to bring to the fore what the land use issues are, what kinds of governance frameworks exist already, and how this entire system is evolving in different parts of the country. And for this session, I would request our esteemed panelists to also come onto the stage. First, I would like to invite Mr. P. Vivekananda. He's the co-chair of the regional IYRP support group of the South Asian region. Please, everyone, I request everyone to please give him a big round of applause. Next, I request Mr. Pradeep Sharma, the advisor to the Honorable Chief Minister for Policy, Planning, Agriculture and Rural Development for the Government of Chhattisgarh. Welcome, sir. Next, we invite Mr. Shailendra Tiwari from Seva Mandir. On the way, okay. Our fourth panelist is still on the way, so we might have to buy the time a little bit. But in the meantime, I would like to request our moderator to come onto the stage, Ms. Bhavna Rao, who's a senior research fellow from the Foundation for Ecological Security, as well as the coordinator of the Rain-Fed Livestock Network. Welcome, ma'am. You start?
Just announce what the aim of the session is.
Okay. So by the time Ms. Shilpa is going to arrive, I request Bhavna ma'am to also share a little bit about what the aim and the objective of the session is and what and where we hope this session's outcomes are going to be like. Yeah. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Pooja, for inviting all the panelists, and thank you for being there with us. So as you all know, pasture commons are extremely important shared resources for communities who rear livestock as well as for rural poor. And they contribute significantly to India's livestock economy. But apart from that, pasture commons are also integral part of dryland landscapes, and they provide the much needed ecosystem services for millions of rural poor and keeping them resilient. But beyond this economic, ecological, and significance of commons, pasture commons have known to have a unique identity among rural poor because the way they are managed in rural locations, the norms and the governance rules have evolved over generations by communities themselves. But despite this criticality and the kind of significant role these pasture commons play, there has been a huge and a rapid decline of these lands across India in various states. And because they are mostly classified as wastelands and therefore diverted for other productive uses. So, but while this is happening, there have also been several enabling factors to basically bring these lands back, remove encroachments, and also many community-led processes have been initiated by a lot of government officials and programs and various other things. So this session is more about, trying to highlight the status and significance of pasture commons. Just to reiterate that community-led processes, restoration and governance of these resources need to be in the forefront when we do development planning. And so we will be talking about these aspects around pasture commons with four of our experts. in today's panel. So while we wait for our take it from here. So while we wait for our fourth panelist to join us, I'd like to open the discussion with the panelists that we have here. And the first question, the way we planned the session is we could have about half an hour to 40 minutes for a direct discussion with the panelists. We could have the last 20 minutes for a question answer session. And maybe the last 5 minutes we could think of some innovative or approaches or strategies that we could take forward collectively. Hindi. Oops. Try करती हूँ sir. इतना हिंदी properly नहीं आता है, but try करेंगे. So the first question to the panelists, because you have vast experience in conservation and restoration of pasture commons. What are the larger trends that you see, and what are the opportunities existing for conservation of pasture commons, and also what are the challenges? So I could give each one of you 5 minutes, and Pradeep sir, maybe you could start. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome to this wonderful evening, wonderful morning. And I'm really thankful to FES for this session. आज जो सबसे बड़ी बात है ये है कि पेस्चरल कॉमन्स जो है या जिसको हम चारागाह कहते हैं, जो चीज़ें हैं उसको किस तरह से देखना चाहिए. हाउ डू वी सी दिस पेस्चरल कॉमन्स? सो एवरी कॉमन ट्रेडिशनली हैज़ 3 things. One is a resource. Second, it has a system. And third, very important thing is that it's a regenerative economy of the habitat, if I'm not saying that village. तो ये 3 चीज़ें हैं, रिसोर्स भी है, दूसरा एक सिस्टम है, और तीसरा इकोनॉमी में एक स्टैंडिंग फैक्टर है. तो यदि हम इसको इस तरह से देखते हैं तो छत्तीसगढ़ का एक एक्सपेरिमेंट है. मैं सीधा वहाँ से शुरू करता हूँ कि छत्तीसगढ़ में जो कॉमन्स है, जो पेस्चरल लैंड था, 1950 में जितना एरेबल लैंड था उसका 50% हमारे यहाँ पर पास्चर कॉमन्स था. किसी गांव में यदि 1200 acres ऑफ लैंड इज एरेबल लैंड, सो 600 acre इज पास्चरल लैंड. बाद में इन 1986 का जो दूसरा सर्वे हुआ, दैट हैज श्रंक टू 22% because of population pressure and many other things has happened. लेकिन कम क्यों हुआ, ये एक इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ था. लेट्स गो बैक टू द 3 things. पहला क्या रिसोर्स था. तो रिसोर्स जो हमारा जो पास्चर लैंड था वो हमारे जानवरों के लिए इसलिए नहीं था कि वो दूध देते हैं. हमारा जो पास्चर लैंड था वो था कि हमारे विलेजेस में जो नेचुरल फर्टिलाइज़र की ज़रूरत थी उसको पूरा करने वाले जितने बोवाइन पॉपुलेशन था, दिस पास्चर लैंड वाज एलोकेटेड फॉर देम. तो द बोवाइन पॉपुलेशन इज 1/3 ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन ऑफ छत्तीसगढ़. छत्तीसगढ़ पॉपुलेशन इज 2.5-2.75 crore people, and our bovine population is 1.30 crore bovine population, cattle and cows. तो ये जो काउज थे, ये जो हमारे 1,30,00,000 गाय थे, तो इनके लिए जो हमारे पास जितना ज़मीन थी उसका आधा हिस्सा इनके लिए रिजर्व था. तो यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट द लिंक इज बिटवीन देम इज कि जो हमारे 1200 एकड़ के एरेबल लैंड के लिए जो हमको फर्टिलाइज़र मिलेगा, उसके लिए हमने 600 एकड़ का पास्चर लैंड, पास्चर जो हमारा जो कॉमन है वो छोड़ रखा है. ये एक सिस्टम है जो हमको समझ में आया. ये जो समझते नहीं है इस तरह से, इसलिए वो इंक्रोचमेंट होता है. 1986 तक, मैं गांव का रहने वाला हूँ, मैं फार्मर, तो हमारे गांव में 86 तक यदि पास्चर लैंड में कोई इंक्रोचमेंट होता था, गांव वाले जाते थे, रिक्वेस्ट करते थे हाथ जोड़ के, और एक ही शब्द होता था, ये लक्ष्मी की जगह है. लक्ष्मी मतलब ये समृद्धि की जगह है, ये ज़मीन इन गायों के लिए है जो गोबर देती, दूध तो हमारे यहाँ देती नहीं थी। हमारे यहाँ दूध वैसे ही एक गाय में आप निकालेंगे एवरेज में तो 200 ml होता है। तो ये लक्ष्मी की जगह है, तो लक्ष्मी की जगह मतलब हमारे खेतों के लिए वो जगह है, खेतों के न्यूट्रिशन के लिए जगह है। तो रिसोर्स ये था, सिस्टम ये था। तो सिस्टम को हम लोगों ने जब हम आए तो सबसे पहला काम किया कि जो पास्चर लैंड है उसके लिए एक लेजिस्लेशन लेके आए। दैट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। आई फॉर्चुनेटली आई गॉट अ चांस which is generally very uncommon, unlike commons. That is, they selected me as an advisor to policy, planning, rural development, and agriculture. It's a very brave government who called up this kind of person. So I was in last government, previous government, not in this government. So I just brought, first thing I did was just brought a legislation in assembly that there should be a permanent committee in Gram Sabha named Gram Gautan Samiti. And that Gram Gautan Samiti will consist of 13 members of the villages, not 5 members. 13 members of the villages consists of women, consists of pasturers, the charwaha, है ना, चरवाहा, महिलाएं, युवा और किसान जिनके यहाँ वो गोबर जाएगा, इनका बना के ग्राम गौठान समिति बनाया। आउट ऑफ 11,000 पंचायत, सब सिविल सर्वेंट्स ने मुझे ये कहा कि ज़मीन कहाँ से लाओगे, व्हेन यू मेक गौठान, ज़मीन तो इंक्रोचमेंट। आई सेड गो टू ग्राम सभा। यहाँ पर मेरे सीनियर एक्टिविस्ट साथी मोहन भाई और डॉक्टर गोगुलवार बैठे, इनसे मैंने सीखा है ये बात, गो टू ग्राम सभा एंड आस्क देम। तो मैंने एक और रेगुलेशन पास कराया कि ग्राम सभा में जो नहीं देगा उसके यहाँ पर हम लोग गौठान नहीं बनाएंगे। It was 5 acre land for common pasture, it's called Gautan, and 11 acres land or 10 acres land for the common pasture land called Charaga. तो 10,265 गाँव में 11,000 पंचायत है। Out of 11,000 पंचायत, 10,265 पंचायत has given us 15 to 16 acre land in every panchayat. Now we have 1,65,000 acres of common reserved for this gaucher, and we have engaged. We have developed a different program from Manrega, based on Manrega, where the cow can come and rest and pasture and ruminate, and then out of that cow dung, women has been trained to produce a vermicompost. 2,65,000 women were producing vermicompost. And from this pasture land, we have manufactured 30 lakh quintal of vermicompost in Chhattisgarh, which has been sold to the farmer through the cooperative society and small loans. And that was a 300 crores economy. Government invested 250 crores. So this has happened if you work with the legislation, with the people, and think through the resource and system and go through legislation. So this was an experiment. Most of you might have seen and heard about it. You are welcome to do that. This can be done in every village. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for highlighting your experience in Chhattisgarh. And I think one of the main takeaways from this is that the design of the program highlights the link between pasture commons, livestock, and agriculture, and then bringing it into a livelihood kind of option as well, and also maybe bringing women to the forefront in this. So I have one more follow-up question for you. Since you have this experience and this model has been well rolled out in Chhattisgarh, what are the long-term strategies do you think other states can also follow?
So out of this experience, the first thing is to let us understand the common mass has to be educated first. Because everybody is under pressure. I went to UP and Bihar and northern states and even in South India, the people were actually worried and anxious about safety of their crops, standing crops. There's so much infestation of cows and buffaloes and ox and bulls. मतलब गांव में लोग रात भर जाग के ये अपने फसलों को बचाने के लिए रात जाग रहे हैं. उनको ये मॉडल समझाने की ज़रूरत है. ये पुराना मॉडल है, हमारा नया कुछ नहीं था। ये पूरा नॉर्थ इंडिया का एक मॉडल है चारागाह का, गौठान का। बॉम्बे में चेंबूर में जो सबसे बड़ा जो जो रिहायशी इलाका है, बॉम्बे में चेंबूर में जो सबसे बड़ा लेट मी रिपीट इट, रिहायशी इलाका है, उसका नाम गौठान है। गौठान लैंड नंबर 1, गौठान लैंड नंबर 2। सो जस्ट थिंक दैट हमने गौठान का क्या किया, ठीक है। तो ये जो गौठान है ये गांव में है, लोगों की स्मृतियों में है। आप पहले सबसे पहले ये करिए। दूसरा, जस्ट प्लीज गो टू योर लेजिस्लेटर्स and get it converted into legislation as it was in छत्तीसगढ़। जो पंचायती राज अधिनियम है उसमें एक छोटा सा अमेंडमेंट कर लीजिए, एक स्थायी समिति बनवा लीजिए और फिर ग्राम सभा के पास जाइए। पहले ग्राम सभा के पास मत जाइए। ये प्रेशर के बाद ग्राम सभा तैयार है। ग्राम सभा गिव्स यू बिना एक भी बल प्रयोग किए हुए, कैन यू इमेजिन, 11,000 गाँव में यदि लोगों ने ज़मीनें दी हैं जिसमें एक भी वायलेंस की सूचना नहीं है। कुछ जगहों में लोगों ने इसको रखा हुआ था तो लोगों ने कहा कि ठीक है, गांव वालों ने कहा हम आपको 1 एकड़ की जगह 2 एकड़ ज़मीन देते हैं, आप ये ज़मीन कृपया छोड़ दीजिए, गाय के लिए सुरक्षित है। लोगों ने छोड़ा इसको।
Thank you, sir, for
Thank
the
you.
2 takeaways. So the same question I would like to ask Vivekanand, sir. You have been basically heading the IYRP process, both nationally and internationally. So what are the opportunities and challenges do you see? Yeah. Welcome, ma'am.
Really sorry.
No worries. Yeah, let's have a warm welcome for Shilpa Nag, ma'am. She's an IAS officer from the state of Karnataka, and she is officer at
I'm Deputy Commissioner Chamraj.
Jamraj.
So previously Commissioner MGNREGS in Karnataka State Government. Currently serving as Chamarajanagar Deputy Commissioner, southernmost district of Karnataka, bordering Tamil Nadu and Kerala. And extremely sorry for being late.
So the question is to you, as you are leading the IYRP process, both internationally and nationally, what are the opportunities and challenges do you see in conserving pasture commons?
Yeah. So good morning, all of you. We are NGO based at Madurai, Seva NGO, working with many NGOs all over the country and also regional and international organizations. So in the 2019 onwards, that we have been doing some lobbying work with many international organizations like ILRI, FAO, and also many international organizations, international NGOs. And we have been doing this, this lobbying work. There was a earlier International Rangeland Congress. So the scientists and also this other organization like FES, so they have been come out that, that policy of coming out that we have to do some lobbying at international level. Then they have our Mongolia government, they have proposed in that United Nations to pass a resolution to see that, that UN has to declare International Year for Rangeland Pastoralists. So 2024, that it was 2023, it was a year of millets that government of India has proposed. So this proposal has been put forth by Mongolia and many organizations, many government, including our government of India. We got letter of support. Actually, we NGOs, we have been active in getting letter of support from Bhutan, Afghanistan, and India, and totally 1 or 2 countries, they have given their consent, letter of support, and we have forwarded it to the, through FAO, it has been forwarded. And 2022 in the General Assembly of 15th March, that resolution has been passed out, and they declared that 2026 as International Year for Rangeland Pastoralists. So 2024, it's International Year for Camelids. Again, 2025, it is this date farm, the Saudi Arabia, I think they passed the resolution. Then 2026, they have been allotted for the International Year for Rangeland Pastoralists. So the main objective is, we see that the common lands, rangelands, or grasslands, the terms, the rangeland covers many that type of lands like grasslands, or even our India is classified as a wasteland or this uncultivated barren land or something, are degraded forest lands, or all the, will come under the rangeland. So the rangeland, that entire, if you see that more than 45%, almost 50% of that entire planet Earth, we have that rangeland. So the rangelands are that largest carbon sink of the planet. And also, it is not inferior to forest land ecosystem, and also it is also conserving this carbon sequestration. It is also superior in this carbon that storing in the root system. So that way, we have to see it's one of the ecosystem, and we have to conserve. And nowadays, that rangeland has been converted for many diverted for development purpose. It is more, I think, in India, if you see, more than 18 million hectares of land. In 2005, it was the recorded. Now 2019, if you see, 13 million hectares. So day by day, it is coming down because of, for various reasons. One is government for development purpose, they are converting, and again encroachment by even exotic species, and also private interest. So for various reasons, it has been slowly, it is coming down, and also it's also not cared properly and degraded. So now it's time to regenerate. So the main objectives of IOR, International Year for Rangeland Pastoral, is, we have to regenerate and also this rangeland, and again revitalize, and so that a sustainable pastoralism can be built up, because the livelihood of the pastoral communities, they depend upon rangelands. Because of environmental hardships they face, that the essential resilience to that climate change mitigation. For this, it is one of the tool. Pastoralists, they have a system of that herds, they will be moving, mobility. So mobility is also one of the tool in managing that rangeland. So if you see the principles of rangeland management, we have to see every year, we have to do reseeding and resting period, and regulation of grazing. So this all, and also community participation. So all go together, only we can achieve this sustainable pastoralism, provided we have to regenerate, and also this regenerate and our existing pastoral rangelands. So for this, now we take it forward. So in our in our country, that actually there are 11 regions in the global level. There is we have divided into regions. So South Asia is one of the regions where we have our colleagues and volunteers. We formed a network with the South Asia support group for this this IORB, International Rangeland Pastoralist. This is called RISK. We have a E-group, more than 150 members, and lots of WhatsApp groups we recently started. And we are doing with the government, with many NGOs. Now the pastoral cell also, they started in the Ministry of Animal Husbandry, and pastoral census also now it's going on. So these are all that our networking of with any NGOs, we are taking it forward. And very recently we organized 3 workshops. Last year, 2023, on the Tribal Welfare Department of Jammu Kashmir, they invited us, and we jointly organized a national workshop on pastoralism. Then again, this year also, 2024, this same July, we again organized with the Minister of this Department of Rural Development in Jammu Kashmir. There, because Jammu Kashmir is one of the states where this nomadic pastoralists like Bakarwals, Gujars, Chopans, many pastoral communities, that still they're leading a life of nomadic style, still intact. More than 6 lakhs people, they are engaged. In the global level, they are one of the highest this nomadic pastoralist population. So they are very much, and also the grasslands, that it is alpine grasslands. They move the vertical their migration. During winter, they will go to they will come down, and again during summer, they will go that altitude of that alpine pasture, they will go to the high altitude area. So still that is intact. So that government, they invited, we organized the workshops, we come out with the good recommendations. And with IGFR, so the IGFR is our nodal agency at government level, that Indian Grassland Forest Research Institute. With them, we also organized one national workshop. Earlier, they prepared that draft partial and policy, but they could not pursue it. So after this workshop, now they have they drafted the final version, and they sent to government, and we are expecting, something will happen, it will come out. So this is now time, so this is the right time we have to see or conserve, protect and regenerate our pasture land. So with the participation of communities and also using the traditional knowledge, and as an NGO we have been documenting, and also 2 years now, for the past 2 years we also announced one award program. Those individuals or pastoralists or communities who they contributed for the management of common lands or pasture land or that associated that management system. So we announced awards at that South Asia level. So that by that even Central Asia and Mongolia also, they also announced awards. So we come out with some best practices. We have come out. So such things, now it is time for to scale up. And we see that, like Jammu Kashmir, other state government also, they have to come forward and organize, especially states like Rajasthan or Gujarat, where still pastoralism is intact. So this is very, very briefly about what is going on in IERP. And again, this is the right time we have to strengthen and also that join with the aligning with that international movement. And before 2026, still another 2 years time is there. And we have to sort out our activities and we have to go about the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I think you very briefly and very succinctly gave us a whole new picture, and also what opportunities exist in the next 2 years for us to do on the rangeland management aspects. But I think we need to also take this discussion forward in the last 10 minutes as to what are the new ideas and strategies that we could come up with to for 2026. So my next question is to Shailendra. As Rajasthan has already created, a good architecture for governance of commons. So what do you see unfolding on the ground, especially from the context of panchayats? Could you explain a little bit on that?
I'll come to that point, but मेरे ख्याल से मैं हिंदी में बोलना चाहूँगा क्योंकि कई लोग राजस्थान से भी हैं और वो शायद अंग्रेजी नहीं समझ पाएंगे। तो देखिए, राजस्थान देश का एरिया वाइज सबसे बड़ा स्टेट है। करीब 10% हम लोगों के पास क्षेत्र है, मगर शायद देश का सिर्फ 1% पानी राजस्थान को मिलता है। और जो रेनफॉल भी देखें तो इतना वेरिएशन है। बांसवाड़ा में अगर 800 से 900 मिलीमीटर है तो जैसलमेर में 100 मिलीमीटर है, और वो फ्लक्चुएट होता रहता है। इस साल तो ज़्यादा मिला है। तो एक तरीके से जो पशुपालन था राजस्थान में, वो मुख्य गतिविधि थी खेती के साथ। खेती से ज़्यादा कई जगह पश्चिमी राजस्थान में जो एनिमल वर्सेस मैन का जो रेशियो है वो भी 7:1, तो हर एक व्यक्ति पे 7 जानवर हुआ करते थे। इसीलिए वहाँ जो पैस्टरलिज्म और जो चारागाह पे आधारित आजीविका है वो बहुत इवोल्व हुई। मैं उस पर ज़्यादा डीपली नहीं जा रहा हूँ, मगर उसको अगर हम देखें तो चराई के लिए, घास के लिए जो डिफरेंट NTFPs हैं जिसमें फूड हैं, केर सांगरी वगैरह सब, दूसरी दवाइयाँ दक्षिणी राजस्थान में भी काफ़ी जो वनस्पति है जिससे वहाँ भोजन की नीड्स, दवाइयाँ, एग्रीकल्चर इम्प्लीमेंट्स बनाने के लिए, ये सारा पास्चर कॉमन्स या अदर कॉमन्स से आता था। आज अगर स्थिति देखें हम तो देखिए, आज पूरे राजस्थान में करीब 16 लाख हेक्टेयर है, और उदयपुर में भी लगभग यही स्थिति है। टोटल एरिया का करीब 6% राजस्थान में और 5% उदयपुर में एरिया पास्चर्स के लिए डेजिग्नेटेड है। मगर आज हम देखें ज़मीन की जो स्थिति है, ज़मीनी अनुभव सेवा मंदिर का मैं बता रहा हूँ, उसमें वाइड स्प्रेड एंक्रोचमेंट हो चुके हैं लगभग 30 से 40%, जबकि ये राजस्थान सरकार और क्लियर कर चुकी है गवर्निंग अथॉरिटीज़ वगैरह सब के ये कभी रेगुलराइज नहीं होती, और फिर भी लोगों ने बहुत, और इसमें सब शामिल हैं समुदाय, गवर्निंग अथॉरिटीज़ और जो पॉलिटिकल तंत्र है वो भी इसको एक तरीके से सही तरीके से एड्रेस नहीं करता है। जो सेवा मंदिर में हम लोगों ने कोशिश की थी वो कोशिश की थी प्रॉपर्टी रिलेशंस ठीक करें और फिर उसको एक मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम में लाएं। तो परस्यूशन, नेगोशिएशन और कॉन्फ्लिक्ट रेजोल्यूशन करके हमने काफ़ी कुछ समुदाय, एक्चुअली ये अगर करना है तो समुदाय ये कर सकता है, लोगों के लिए बहुत मुश्किल है, और इसमें एक सिविल सोसाइटी का फैसिलिटेशन बहुत ज़रूरी है। अब मैं ब्रीफली राजस्थान में जो परंपरागत रहे हैं पद्धतियाँ, उसमें उगाई, श्रमदान, बोरा जो सिस्टम है, सुइया सिस्टम लकड़ी वाला, हलाई वाला सिस्टम है, जिसको न्यावटा वाला सिस्टम हम दक्षिणी राजस्थान में ऐसे रहे हैं, पर आज की स्थिति में ये बहुत कम गाँवों में चल रहे हैं। तो इसलिए एक्सटर्नल फैसिलिटेशन इसमें इन सब चीज़ों में, और शायद सिविल सोसाइटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस की एक बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी है इन सिस्टम्स को वापस रिवाइव करने की। अब हम आर्किटेक्चर देखें, पिछले काफ़ी सालों में एक राजस्थान में मंच बना हुआ है जिसमें कई स्वयंसेवी संस्थाएं मिलकर बात कर रही है, ज़्यादातर के प्रतिनिधि भी यहाँ मौजूद हैं। तो हम लोग मिलके कोशिश कर रहे हैं और एक गवर्नमेंट ऑफ राजस्थान ने एक फॉर्मल आर्किटेक्चर इसमें बनाया, जिसमें जो 73rd अमेंडमेंट के क्लॉज है 170 उसका 1 जो क्लॉज है उसमें हर गांव में एक चरागाह विकास समिति बनानी है उसमें फॉर्मली उनको। और इसी तरीके से 2014 में राजस्थान गवर्नमेंट ने वेस्टलैंड एंड पास्चरलैंड डेवलपमेंट बोर्ड का गठन किया है, और उसके अंतर्गत जो ट्रिपल लेयर्स हैं, पंचायत लेवल पे, ब्लॉक लेवल पे और डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पे ये समितियां बनेगी। तो जो पंचायत लेवल पे है उसको चेयर करेंगे सरपंच, ब्लॉक लेवल पे इसको चेयर करेंगे प्रधान, और जिला प्रमुख चेयर करेंगे डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल की कमेटी। तो ये मॉनिटर करेगी इन समितियों को, और इन समितियों में डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट, तो आर्किटेक्चर बहुत अच्छा है। इसमें एग्रीकल्चर डिपार्टमेंट है, एनिमल हस्बेंड्री डिपार्टमेंट है, फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स हैं भी हैं जो ब्लॉक लेवल पे और डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पे कमिटीज़ हैं। तो इसको लेके काफ़ी पंचायतें राजस्थान में अब आगे आ रही हैं कि इस तरह की समितियां बने और वो काम करें। मगर इसमें अगेन हम लोगों की बार बार जो हम बैठक करते हैं भीलवाड़ा में और अन्य अन्य जगह भी, उदयपुर में भी बैठ के हुई है, उसमें सिविल सोसाइटीज़ का ये कि इसमें एक्सटर्नल फैसिलिटेशन, उसमें सिविल सोसाइटीज़ भी सदस्य हैं, उनका बहुत बड़ा रोल है ग्राम स्तर पे इसको इम्प्लीमेंट कराने में। 2023 में राजस्थान सरकार के जो रूरल डेवलपमेंट का, ग्रामीण विकास का मंत्रालय है, उन्होंने भी एक हाई लेवल टास्क फोर्स बनाई है जिसमें 22 सदस्य हैं। इट इज़ चेयर्ड बाय एडिशनल चीफ सेक्रेटरी आरडी राजस्थान, और इसमें विश्वविद्यालय के प्रतिनिधि हैं, सरकार के अन्य विभागों के प्रतिनिधि हैं, एनजीओज़ भी हैं, जो प्रोमिनेंट एनजीओज़ कुछ हैं, सेवा मंदिर, एफईएस, पीडो, बायफ, इस तरह इनके भी सदस्य उसमें हैं। इसके अलावा एक जिला स्तर पे पब्लिक लैंड प्रोटेक्शन सेल, वो 2019 में राजस्थान हाई कोर्ट के डायरेक्टिव पे भी गठन करने का कहा गया है। तो एक तरीके से ये आर्किटेक्चर पूरा है, मगर अगेन शायद इन सबको एक्टिवेट करने के लिए, इसको फॉर्मली ग्राउंडिंग के लिए सिविल सोसाइटी को सरकार के साथ, पंचायतों के साथ और समुदाय के साथ मिलके आगे ले जाने की ज़रूरत है।
Thank you, Shailendra. I think we have two very contrasting experiences from two different states here, where the architecture is there, but in one state it's working really very well, and in the other state, despite the architecture, we have, not so working well. Which is the other state? Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh. You missed out on the Chhattisgarh one. Yeah, so we could take this up in the last session, in the last 10 minutes as to what is working and what's not. But now a follow-up question to you will be later, but I'd like now to pose some questions to Shilpa. You have been the champion in rolling out the GPNAS program in the state of Karnataka. So the GPNAS program is Gram Parisara Abhivruddhi Niharana Samiti. Nirvahana Samiti. And I would like you to share with us what is the design elements which made this program successful.
So I would like to start with a brief background. Basically, for 1 year, 8 months in the state of Karnataka, I was Commissioner MG and REGS. And I think all the stakeholders here are touched by Narega. We call it Narega, Udyoga Khatri in Karnataka and all that. It's a very flexible program. It's a very grassroots level program. Planning happens at the Gram Panchayat level, at the village level in Gram Sabhas. There is adequate amount of funding also. For example, in Karnataka, we have 5,960 Gram Panchayats. And under Narega itself, each panchayat gets a minimum of 80 lakh. Of course, it depends on the number of job cards and the works taken up. 80 lakh to 1.4 crore per panchayat per year. And apart from that, we have the 15th finance grants and other grants. So NREGA is one of the finest examples of grassroots level planning. And 65% of resources from NREGA is used on NRM, that is natural resource management works like soil and water conservation works. So what we thought was that, if at all the change should come in soil and water conservation and preservation of commons, it should start at the bottom. We talk so much about it. It's like an academic discipline, There are international conventions, there are national policies, and there are state level, It's more of an academic circle. And at the grassroots level, it is only community-led in the sense that if there are some NGOs or organizations who are passionate about it, and to the extent that is possible with the limited amount of funding, with the politics of the Gram Panchayat and the other local bodies and everything, with a lot of effort, things move forward. And again, that is patchy, and in some places, it's not a very comprehensive approach. But we are wasting, there is so much of money. All we need is a thought process, evidence-based decision-making, a kind of commitment to preservation of commons, to uphold the intergenerational equity of sustainable development that is there. So it should be in action. It should not be, nothing can be, pushed from the top. That's what we realized. So we started this entire initiative called Jalasanjeevani, basically for evidence-based scientific. So two things are there in what I'll speak. One is the governance structure of it and how that is empowered, how that is streamlined, monitor, workshops done, and there is accountability matrix that is fixed at each level of governance. And another is the usage of technology, where FES comes in. Actually, FES is a great partner, knowledge partner that has worked in Karnataka. So on the governance front, when we looked at Gram Panchayats and villages, there were so many committees already. There was this biodiversity committee, wildlife protection committee, some sort of a lake development committee. I think, it was so many, at least 6 to 7 committees on some sort of, natural resource management and conservation. But there was no comprehensivity, there was repetition, there was no, proper responsibility mapping, no SOPs, no terms of reference, no kind of frequency of meetings or anything. It was all committee and it was just in the files. And to be honest, when we went there, nobody knew what committees were there, and very few places where either the panchayats themselves were progressive or the PDO, the Panchayat Development Officer, who's also called the Panchayat Secretary in some states, that person was active, or any NGO or any civil society organization was working. That is where some committees were activated. Otherwise, you issue these orders, do some workshops and everything, and monitor, and then you create some dashboards for some metrics, and it is just tracking. It won't kind of infuse that activity. So as a governance measure, what we thought was that we should integrate everything into one single committee, that is the GPANs, the Grama Parisara Abhivruddhi and Nirvahana Committee. Because eco-resources and village commons are common, soil is common, there are water bodies that are there, traditionally, grazing lands that were left so that, animals can graze. And like I think our esteemed colleagues were mentioning, a lot of selfishness and encroachment, and there are areas where even the poor are farming in grazing lands, and it will never be regularized, but still immediately you can't throw them out because they may not have any livelihood. And the ownership of who actually takes care of the commons. This dichotomy is actually very bizarre. Because revenue department, I'm deputy commissioner now, so I belong to the revenue department. The entire concept of revenue department is colonial, as you know. Why is it even called a revenue department? We don't collect revenue. What is the land revenue on each acre of land? There is all these khetwari and all these certificates and all that. So it is not even... It's working? Okay. So the entire concept of revenue department itself is a very laughable entity, according to me. And in a way, in India, the guardian of or the custodian of all public lands is the revenue department. And the development department is a rural development and Panchayati Raj department, under which the Gram Panchayats and the Taluka Panchayats and Zilla Panchayats operate. So when we started this entire initiative of NRM management under Jalasanjeevani, it's a very broad concept. I will only talk about the fodder management, the fodder security part of it, because that is the topic for today. And we wanted to know how many gomalas are there, how many acres of gomalas are there. Gomala is nothing but grazing land in Karnataka. And within Karnataka also, there is a difference of labeling. So in some places, in North Karnataka areas, it is not even called, nothing is identified as gomalas. In South Karnataka, it is called Gomala. In some other place, there is, some other kind of wasteland sort of a name and everything. And panchayats literally didn't know the extent of gomalas that they have in their own jurisdiction. And always it was felt that, okay, revenue department has this list and revenue department is the custodian of all lands. Revenue department is, responsible for the protection from encroachment, prevention of encroachment and all that. So it was very shocking that when we started this entire initiative under GPANs, so let us come back to GPANs. So we kind of integrated a lot of these committees and kind of gave it some kind of authority. And we did accountability matrix mapping and proper workshop and everything. And we worked a lot, I think, with a lot of effort from FES also. There was a lot of push in, after I got transferred, that is February of 2024, it got, the government order got issued. So this integrated architecture wherein, we look at commons as a comprehensive, unit. And the responsibility of not just the local officials and elected representatives, but also of the community and the people, that was delineated in one side. Another side was a technology part of it, because how much ever money we get, and there is always this bane of, CC roads and drains. I don't know how many kilometers of CC roads and drains we have done across the country under Narega also, that we can go to the moon and come back 3 times, I feel. And it is, not even connected. It is not even a comprehensive sanitation management or grey water management or black water management. They'll be kind of, from Ramappa's house to Bhimappa's house. So it will be like, then again, there won't be any connectivity, So bringing that focus from civil, oriented works where contractors actually and the local people, make money and all that, we came back to evidence-based decision making, wherein Gram Sabhas had to be effective. And where do we get this evidence? How do we ensure that, the right things are discussed? So what is the water budget? What is the water availability in our village? How many families are there? How many people are there? How many, major ruminants and minor ruminants are there? What is the fodder availability? What is the fodder gap? What is the water availability and what is the water gap? And what do we do about it next 10, 20, 30 years from now? What we can do about it? And it has to be evidence-based. So Karnataka State Remote Sensing Agency, we have the Karnataka State Disaster Monitoring Committee, and under that there is a KSR SAC. It has kind of literally every map that you can imagine about gradient, the nature of soil, rainfall, underground water, geological maps and everything. So using that and using FES also, so that was used as a basic tool at the state level and the taluka level, that is the block level, for creating and ready to use sort of maps in different villages and everything, where they exactly know what work needs to be done there. It's not that everywhere the same kind of structures need to be built. And FES is used for, FES CLART mobile app is used for ground truthing. So basic table work is done through KSR SAC and Google Maps and Google Earth and Bhuvan. And then we take it to the next level, and the ground truthing is done through the CLART app, wherein exactly what kind of structure, water conservation structure should be to be established where. For example, if it is a clay soil, you do a surface, structure. If it is a laterite soil or something, you do a underground recharge structure. So exactly what kind of structure is needed, where it needs to be located, and why it needs to be located there. So this should be done as before the action plan Gram Sabhas happen, because you're telling the panchayat, you're making a presentation and showing this is the map. This is how many animals we have, this is the fodder, this is what kind of water we have, this is the gap, these are the water bodies and these need recharging. Why we are doing this work? It is because of this reason. So that kind of an awareness, and not just, putting things on people's head and all that. So this, of course, needs to start somewhere. We started with that. So coming back to the Gomala development sub-plan that we did, and coming back to the, kind of contrast between revenue and RDPR, we realized that, panchayats are not bothered about their grazing lands, in the sense that, it doesn't matter to us. And then they're telling, I've written letters to Tehsildar and they have not given us the details yet and everything. So finally we created central land directory at the state level only. And each and every panchayat, the entire, we also have a revenue mobile app called the Dishank app, wherein you can just go and see any public land or any land that is there. So using everything, all that is already existing, all these maps were provided. And suddenly, panchayats for the first time started waking up and thinking about, okay, fine, we have so much of Gomala, it's not that we don't have. Some places, mining rights are given as if that is a very important activity that needs to be done in the Gomalas themselves. Even though there is this cabinet and all the decision has to be taken, it was taken in some cases where I don't think mining is such a life, saving activity or anything, but it was done. So I think Gomala development came into the consciousness of the people, and GPANS is an instrument, that we use to kind of bring that awareness and everything. And I mean, human greed and self-centeredness, and right now, what do I get instead of what is there for the future, or something like that. And also getting that common mindset. I think the commons were there at a time where people were like, okay, grazing land, some kind of pavitra vanas and everything for grazing, and we have these ponds and lakes, and construction of tanks was a major punyaka activity at that time. So right now we are going in the opposite direction. I think with all these mechanisms and measures, it was a major and a bold experiment. And it was kind of done from a very comprehensive perspective with, again, civil society partners, technological partners, knowledge partners, even within the government, multi sectoral sort of this thing, from the forest department to the revenue department to the RDPR department to every other stakeholder that there is. And I think it was a very successful experiment. And right now there is a kind of a thought framework and a roadmap and a structure into which we are constantly evolving and developing. And I'm very happy and I'm thankful to FES, which was a major player in this entire thing. And even GPANS, the drafting of the entire government order was done in collaboration with FES. And I think, it was in a short time, I think it was a major win for the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shilpa. That was a very, very detailed description of the program design. Here, yet again, we have another example in a state where the architecture is there, but then she highlighted so much of interdepartmental coordination, multi-stakeholder processes, and various other things. So just one last question to you. I mean, you led the process because you understood the whole idea and that you have to work together and all. But at the same time, your post is a transferable post. So how do we keep this continuity? Because that is one of the major issues in development, that there is one champion officer who takes it forward, but then again, there's no continuity to this.
So yeah, institutionalization is something we all look at, because every officer has their own preferences and has their own way of working and prioritization. So this was a very painstaking initiative, and for the first time, I think I was there for 1 year, 8 months, so I feel that I got a good tenure to work. Otherwise, it's generally 1 year, 2 months, and we're going to completely contrasting departments. It was a great experience, and institutionalization in the form of, again, the government order is issued and there is an institutionalization. Jalasanjeevani as a concept, and as a mode of action planning and everything, it is integrated into the planning architecture of NREGA, because I was in NREGA and in the larger RDPR narrative. So Jalasanjeevani is something October 2nd, when we start NREGA planning, the steps that we have delineated, it has been put into NREGA soft, it is already there. We also have Panchatantra too, which is a RDPR, sort of a dashboard and a complete portal. I think Panchatantra was one of the earliest. It started 12 years ago, actually. So Panchatantra 2 also won a national award. I think I was also director e-governance in RDPR, luckily. So Panchatantra 2 is something which all the things that we have discussed, the steps in decision making, how do we API integration with all these KSAR SAC and all that, so the panchayat can directly withdraw information, whatever they want, and how to utilize it and everything. So it has been institutionalized in 2 ways. One is that it has gone into the software and in the planning architecture. Right now, if somebody wants to make an action plan in Panchatantra 2, they have to kind of, by default, follow this process, and they can't ignore this process. Secondly, government orders and governance architecture has been established. So thankfully, I think satisfactorily institutionalized it is, and I'm thankful for that to the state.
Yeah, thank you, Shilpa. I think also one more thing that explicitly came out in your experience is the use of digital tools. So the next question is to you, Pradeep sir, and also even others. I mean, do you see the scope of using digital tools, like the way Shilpa has collaborated with FES on this?
See, digitalization is part of process nowadays. It's something which is now everywhere. It's so much that it requires little. I mean, it needs to be lessened now, actually. जो मुझे समझ में आया छत्तीसगढ़ के एक्सपेरिमेंट से वो ये है, हम लोगों ने भी 2 रुपए किलो में जब गोबर खरीदना शुरू किया तो हम लोगों ने भी गौठान ऐप बनाया, और जो भी गोबर बेचता था वो दूसरे दिन आ जाता था. एवरी 15 days we have to pay that money through the same kind of system. The whole digitalization of the system of payment and decentralized distribution of fertilizer and everything. But that is not the core issue. Let me tell you. कोर इशू क्या है? कोर इशू ये है, जैसा कि शिल्पा जी ने बहुत अच्छा बोला, कि एक मोटिवेटेड आदमी को पीछे होना. See, my chief minister was very motivated thanks to his own background. And he has given us 4 years free hand to work. So we keep changing. I mean, I was in planning commission. So we keep changing our regulations, acts, whatever is possible. And when we wrote down, हम लोगों ने एक छोटा सा डिज़ाइन बनाया, मॉडल डिज़ाइन, and we sent it to मनरेगा और हमने काम शुरू किया. Then we got a letter from central government that Gautan is not part of मनरेगा. Okay, how are you making? Please explain it. Then we explained it कि भाई देखो Gautan में जो चीज़ें, all components are permitted, and the components at one place, that's why it is called Gautan. So you have to be very careful about that. Digitization is one, but it should have only 20% to 30%. The most important thing is mobilization of mass, and the system and resource needs to work to regenerate the economy of that habitat, that village, which ultimately sustains, number one. Number two, when this government, previous government has just gone, तो जब हमारी गवर्नमेंट थी तो उस समय जितने भी चुनाव में जितने इलेक्शन हुए, out of 8 elections in 5 manifestos of all parties, it was written that they will purchase cow dung in ₹2 and will do the same kind of experiment. That is one thing we have actually, you see, is a successful of one. So they were calling me and we're doing the same thing in Karnataka. Karnataka is underlined, and I've just been to Himachal and Telangana. All farmers from every district of Telangana has visited our area in Chhattisgarh because it's in vicinity. Rajasthan government of BJP is now, आपके अशोक गहलोत जी वगैरह सब आए थे. बीजेपी ने भी अपने मैनिफेस्टो में लिखा है. तो पहला चीज़ तो ये है कि इसको बहुत पॉपुलराइज करना चाहिए. दूसरी गवर्नमेंट आई छत्तीसगढ़ में और उसने सबसे पहला काम किया, गौठानों का एक्टिविटी स्लो किया या बंद किया. तो पिछले 15 दिन पहले, अभी जब हमारे यहाँ बारिश के बाद धान का सीज़न शुरू हो गया, तो गांव वालों ने अपने सब जानवर लेके एसडीएम के कार्यालय में पहुंच गए और एक बहुत बड़ा मोमेंट हुआ 2 दिन का, गौ सत्याग्रह, कि भाई हमारा गौठान बंद कर रहे तो गाय को क्या करोगे बताओ. सो एक बार जब आपका सिस्टम पब्लिक में चला जाता है ना, जैसे मनरेगा कोई बंद नहीं कर सकता, वैसे ही कॉमन्स का जो यूज़ है, यदि आप उसको रिजनरेटिव इकोनॉमी से एक बार जोड़ देते हो और लोगों के बहुत सारे इश्यूज डायरेक्टली दूर हो जाते हैं, तो फिर लोग अपने आप को खड़ा कर लेते हैं. ये एक बहुत बड़ा लर्निंग था हमारे लिए, और इस लर्निंग को मुझे लगता है कि हम सभी लोगों को, चाहे ब्यूरोक्रेट्स हों, पॉलिसी मेकर्स हों, या हमारे एनजीओज़ हो या आम जनता हो, ये बात बिल्कुल समझनी चाहिए कि हमारी ज़रूरतें यदि कहीं भी एड्रेस्ड हो गई हैं, जैसे मिड डे मील इसे एक ज़रूरत है, और मिड डे मील यदि साउथ इंडिया में शुरू नहीं हुआ होता कामराज जी के समय में, तो आज वहाँ की लिटरेसी इतनी नहीं बढ़ी होती. कोई भी गवर्नमेंट आए, मिड डे मील चलता रहा. वैसे ही ये जो पास्चर लैंड का जो गौठान या इस तरह के, या मैडम ने जो बताया ई पंच और समथिंग ना, तो ई पंच और समथिंग पंचतंत्र, तो वट एवर जो भी आपने जो प्रोग्राम बनाया है, यदि ये लोकल लोगों में चला गया तो आप सफल हो गए, और नहीं हुआ तो आप ये मान के चलिए कि किसी न किसी तरह से उसको मीएंडर अमेंडमेंट या ख़त्म कर दिया जाएगा और आप उसको नहीं सस्टेन कर सकते.
Thank you very much, sir. I think that was a good takeaway for them. So I'd like to now open the floor for question answers. We have about 15 minutes exactly. So any questions from the floor to the speakers? Shantanu, can we take non-FES first? Somebody else, please. Yeah.
Thank you, madam. Actually, when you are as a director, I think a lot of work has been done on commons. I think the same question which Gram Panchayats, when we kept the set registrar, and also there will be some classes will be there with the revenue department and other things. Is there any thing which convergence has to be done at the panchayat level? The Department of Agriculture, veterinary people, and the Gram Panchayat people and community representatives. That kind of, is there any work has been initiated by the department?
So I think that was very well said. Two things, I think convergence and coordination amongst this thing and how it will be ensured. So basically, like I think Mr. Pradeep told, putting it out in the public is the most important thing. So that, if it is just a government order amongst officers, and like you rightly mentioned, today this officer is there, tomorrow any government, it may become inconvenient. Why should we protect so much of grazing lands? There are political interests and everything. So putting out all the information that is, possible, including action plans and the land directory itself, Right now in Karnataka is a forefront in revenue land management. We have the Bhumi software for a very long time right now. And Panchatantra 2 and Bhumi is, public oriented. There is a mobile app called Dishank where everybody can see. We are flagging government lands right now. A lot of new work is being added and, geofencing is being done and all that. So put it out there. Number of animals that are there, number of water bodies that are there, number of public lands that are there, the geo coordinates of it, the extent of it, everything. And anybody can just take those geo coordinates and superimpose on a Google Earth or something and immediately see an encroachment. For example, there is a water body in survey number 4, which is 26 acres. But when you kind of superimpose that on a, Google Earth, you can see that there is some cultivation, there is some kind of building construction. And immediately there will be public outroar and local governments have to take that into, account, and DCs or CEOs, ZP have to take that into account. So one thing is that, we try to put everything out there, including Panchtantra 2, which is like public access, and everything should be available to the public. Because Narega Soft is almost like a, software where it is used for as a planning tool and a data entry tool by the officials. So in RDPR and revenue, it is very, very external oriented, and we are putting all the information in the public domain. There is transparency and people ask questions. Gram Sabhas, people come and ask questions. Otherwise, people write a petition to the governor or whoever. There is this land tribunals and everything where there is, encroachment of public land. There are tribunals in Karnataka, they write to that and all that. Secondly, convergence of committees. Again, GPANS has these members of all the different, stakeholders like the veterinary department. People should know how many major and minor ruminants are there. So the Gram Sabha started with a template of, and also we have kind of an integrated perspective planning, initiative in Karnataka. I mean, there are so many things I think to talk about, but integrated, perspective planning, we make a 3-year plan, and then we kind of put together resources of all the, monies that are coming, right from 15th finance funds to Narega funds to own source of revenue to any kind of state government projects to watershed management. Different departments have, forest department have their own developmental budgets and everything, and map what is required, as a development in the next 5 years in that particular village. Right from, there are some no-cost developments, low-cost development, schools are very far away, Anganwadi is not there in that, 1 to 2 kilometer radius and all that. So we kind of have this integrated action plan where the Gram Sabha kinds of looks at a snapshot of, what we need in the next 5 years, what we have now, and how do we utilize the resources optimally so that these, so putting that information out there is the first thing where people will ask questions to the officers of, why this department has got, this many, you have 8 crore funds, this thing for the block, this annual, and this year. And in that 8 crore, how much this panchayat is getting and what it is being utilized for and why this problem is not getting resolved. So I think, giving that power of knowledge and to the people, and people are very aware. We can't say that people don't have smartphones, they are uneducated. So many times when I go to the field, some youngster in that village or even middle-aged people come and show me on the Dishank app, you see this is the Kaveri river, it is flowing like this, we are on this bank and this is what is happening. And it's common sense. And again, technology is not like we are going and inventing something new. Traditional knowledge about agriculture and conservation is much, much, better. And that should be listened to and, incorporated, and not like everything is so hi-fi that, only ground truthing and everything. So this is an tool to aid, local knowledge and local traditional decision-making capabilities. That has to be empowered. Right now, those voices have been pushed to the background. I think our entire initiative, as a civil society, as a government, as anything, is to just let people speak and listen to them for a change, instead of always talking about it ourselves.
मैं मोहन हीराबाई हीरालाल, जो जिस ग्राम सभा की बात हम लोग करते हैं पंचायत की, वो असली ग्राम सभा नहीं है। जैसे सभी लोग कह रहे हैं कि हम लोग को कम्युनिटी को इन्वॉल्व करना है, तो जो रिप्रेजेंटेटिव सिस्टम है पंचायत का, वहाँ ये नहीं हो सकता। उसके नीचे टोला पाड़ा हैमलेट में जहाँ कम्युनिटी रहती है और अपने दैनंदिन जीवन को चलाती है, उसको ग्राम सभा कहना चाहिए। लेकिन ग्राम सभा शब्द पंचायत राज में बहुत बदनाम हो चुका है। तो पहली बार कानून में इस तरह की ग्राम सभा जो टोला पाड़ा हैमलेट की हो सकती है, उसको मान्यता मिली है एफआरए के कम्युनिटी फॉरेस्ट राइट में। तो गांवठान जो चारागाह है उसका महत्व वहाँ ज़्यादा है जहाँ खेती की ज़मीन ज़्यादा है। और जैसे प्रदीप भाई ने कहा कि किसान जानता है कि उसको अपने खेत के लिए खाद के रूप में गोबर चाहिए, लेकिन ऐसे बड़े क्षेत्र है कि जहाँ पे खेती भी है और जंगल भी है, तो वहाँ पे दूसरा मॉडल उसको साथ जोड़ना पड़ेगा कि एफआरए की कम्युनिटी फॉरेस्ट राइट में जो ग्राम सभा है जिसको मान्यता मिली है और काफ़ी लीगली एम्पावर्ड ग्राम सभा है, वो और ये गांवठान की ग्राम सभा एक ही हो। क्योंकि सिस्टम काम करती है कि अलग अलग ग्राम सभाएं होगी, इस एक्ट के तहत दूसरी होगी, उस एक्ट के तहत दूसरी होगी, और एक गांव और 17 कमिटीज़ होगी। इसके ऊपर हमारी स्ट्रेटेजी एक हो सकती है कि एक जो रियल ग्राम सभा है, कानून कोई भी हो, विषय कोई भी हो, जो भी कमेटी है वो ग्राम सभा ही होगी, और ग्राम सभा एग्जीक्यूटिव कमेटी बहुत बना सकती है। तो जैसे एफआरए कम्युनिटी फॉरेस्ट राइट का इसके साथ कन्वर्जेंस हम कर सकते हैं। मनरेगा की बात आपने की है। दूसरा बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट एक्ट है, पावरफुल एक्ट है, बायोडाइवर्सिटी एक्ट। और ये बायोडाइवर्सिटी एक्ट में सेक्शन 41 है कि बायोडाइवर्सिटी मैनेजमेंट कमेटी को गठन करने का अधिकार पंचायत को दिया गया है, राज्य सरकार और केंद्र सरकार को नहीं है। अगर चुनकर आई हुई ग्राम पंचायत रिजोल्यूशन करती है कि ये जो असली ग्राम सभा है, जो गांवठान की ग्राम सभा है, जो वन अधिकार की ग्राम सभा है, वही बायोडाइवर्सिटी मैनेजमेंट की ग्राम सभा होगी, तो कोई राज्य सरकार, कोई केंद्र सरकार उसको रोक नहीं सकता। तो ये कन्वर्जेंस वाले हिस्से पे भी हम अगर ध्यान दें और जो एग्जिस्टिंग कानून है उसमें के ही प्रोविज़न को ग्राम सभा और कम्युनिटी को स्ट्रेंथन बनाने के लिए काम करेंगे, तो जो बात आप कहते हैं कि अवेयरनेस और पीपल्स पावर का प्रेशर ये रिप्रेजेंटेटिव गवर्नमेंट के ऊपर लाने की ज़रूरत है, उसके लिए हमें बहुत सहयोग होगा। और नया कुछ नहीं करना है, जो कानून है उसी के उन हिस्सों को कन्वर्जेंस करना है। तो क्या ये उपयोगी हो सकता है?
मोहन भाई थैंक यू। एक बहुत अच्छा एस्पेक्ट छूट रहा था तो आपने याद दिला दिया। हमारे यहाँ पर करीब करीब 1200 गांव ऐसे हैं जो फॉरेस्ट विलेजेस में आते हैं। बहुत बड़ी समस्या थी वहाँ पर, हम लोग मनरेगा नहीं कर पा रहे थे और बहुत सारी चीज़ें। तो हम लोगों ने वहाँ पर आवर्ती चराई योजना लाई, जो कंपार्टमेंट ग्रेजिंग जोन है ना, वो वहाँ लाई, और 25 एकड़ में उस ज़मीन को का चारागाह के रूप में एफआरए में उसको हमने नॉमिनेट किया। और मुझे आपको बताते बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि सबसे ज़्यादा अच्छा और सफल प्रयोग आवर्ती चराई का हुआ था अपेक्षाकृत गौठान का। गौठान में तो बहुत मेहनत करना पड़ा था, आवर्ती चराई में तो जंगल वैसे ही था, चारागाह भी था, बस खाली वहाँ पर हम लोगों को गोबर प्रोसेसिंग के लिए छोटे मोटे बिना किसी परमानेंट स्ट्रक्चर, क्योंकि आप परमानेंट स्ट्रक्चर मनरेगा से भी नहीं बना सकते, तो हमने बांस के बनवाए, आपको बांस के बनवाए, तालाबों के लिए छोटे छोटे मतलब तालाब बनाए, वहाँ पर हमने कोई बोरिंग वोरिंग नहीं किया। तो आवर्ती चराई योजना में भी गौठान को हमने कन्वर्ट किया। तो ये जो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ ये होता है कि एक डेडिकेटेड टीम होती है जो नए नए समस्याओं पे सोचती है। जैसे हो सकता है कि तेलंगाना में हमको बिल्कुल नया चीज़ करना पड़े खम्मम और बाकी इलाकों में, या कर्नाटक में कुछ और भी सोचना पड़े, लेकिन जब एक टीम होती है जो सोचती है, जिसमें पीपल्स पार्टिसिपेशन हो, और वो ग्राम सभा की आत्मा को समझती है, ग्राम सभा की आत्मा बोल रहा हूँ, पंचायत नहीं, पंचायत अब लार्जली गवर्नमेंट के एक तरह से ठेकेदार हो गए हैं। तो ये जो समझती है वो उसको बहुत अच्छे से पास्चर लैंड को वापस रीजनरेट करने के लिए बहुत अच्छा काम करती है, और इस लाइन पे सोचा जा सकता है। थैंक यू।
अच्छा, मैं दिस इज
Yeah, there are 3 more questions.
मैं प्रखर हूँ छत्तीसगढ़ से। एक क्योंकि ऑलरेडी प्री एग्जिस्टिंग चीज़ों की बात हो रही है, तो एक रेवेन्यू ऑफिशियल्स भी हैं, काफ़ी सारे लोग रेवेन्यू पे भी काम करते हैं, तो रेवेन्यू में देयर इज़ ऑलवेज एक हमारे इधर निस्तार पत्र होता है वेयर कॉमन्स का पूरा लिस्टिंग होता है। हर स्टेट में नाम अलग हो सकता है। उसमें जो सेटलमेंट हुए थे 1930s के आसपास ब्रिटिशर्स के समय, उस समय ग्रेजिंग लैंड मेंशन किया गया था कि फलाना सो एंड सो खसरा नंबर पे ये ग्रेजिंग लैंड है या पैस्टरलिस्ट के लिए आरक्षित है। अब इशू ये था कि वो समय समय पर अपडेट होना था, उसमें फॉरेस्ट लैंड भी था, रेवेन्यू लैंड भी था, समय समय पर अपडेट होना था। आई थिंक मैंने मतलब जितने स्टेट्स के साथियों से पूछा है, किसी भी स्टेट में वो रेगुलर अपडेट नहीं होता है। मतलब रेवेन्यू ऑफिशियल्स को लगता है मैं इसको क्यों करूँ, मेरा काम तो रेवेन्यू मतलब लैंड का बस बिजनेस करना है, वही काम है, और अदरवाइज को आई एम यूजिंग द वर्ड बिजनेस इंटेंशनली हियर। सो हाँ, तो उसके अलावा ये कॉमन्स का काम मेरा नहीं है। तो वो अपडेट करने से, क्योंकि अगेन व्हेन वी कम टू एफआरए, वन अधिकार में बात करते हैं, कम्युनिटी राइट्स में निस्तार की और चराई की दो अधिकार की अलग बात करते हैं, तो उसमें भी एकदम रैंडमली सभी स्टेट्स में हो गया कि हाँ ये पूरा 200 हेक्टेयर का जंगल चराई के लिए। उसको समझने की कोशिश भी नहीं की कि इज़ इट सीजनल ग्रेजिंग, उसमें क्या गुजरात राजस्थान से जो लंबी दूरी से आते हैं लोग, उनका कब कहाँ कितना आता है। तो वो बारीकियाँ की जब हम बात करते हैं, हम लोग मतलब कॉमन्स में बात करते हैं, बहुत अच्छा लगता है, बड़ा बड़ा वी प्लान फॉर फ्रॉम द टॉप डाउन लेवल, और जो बॉटम वाली काम है और जो डेली रूटीन वाली काम है, दिस इज़ ब्रेड एंड बटर फॉर एवरी रेवेन्यू ऑफिशियल एंड एवरी विलेज की भाई ये डेली प्लानिंग है हमारा कि बरसात में चराई कहाँ करनी है, गर्मी में कहाँ करनी है, पानी ख़त्म होता है, पहाड़ों में कहाँ पानी मिलता है। तो एनिमल्स के साथ जिस कम्युनिटी को काम करना है, ओवरऑल ग्राम सभा को काम करना है, सो वेयर इज इट गेटिंग लॉस्ट, आई जस्ट वांटेड टू आस्क दैट।
Maybe we'll take two more questions and then one of you could answer. Okay.
मैं जगवीर सिंह, सामाजिक प्रेरणा लापोड़िया से। मैं एक सवाल कर रहा था कि ग्रेजिंग लैंड का सबसे बड़ा दुश्मन जो है वो एनक्रोचमेंट है, और एनक्रोचमेंट का क्या इश्यू है कि इंडिविजुअल इंटरेस्ट वर्सेस कॉमन इंटरेस्ट। तो इंडिविजुअल इंटरेस्ट जब कोई एनक्रोच करता है, मान लिया वो 1 एकड़ एरिया में एनक्रोच करता है, तो उसको बेनिफिट होता है, वो ज़मीन छूटती है तो उसको लॉस होता है, तो अपनी पूरी ताकत के साथ वो उसके लिए लड़ता है मतलब उसको छूटने नहीं देता है। और उधर कॉमन इंटरेस्ट होता है तो सबका थोड़ा नुकसान होता है, तो सब वो लड़ने की तैयारी में नहीं होते हैं। तो ऐसे में कहीं रोल आता है गवर्नमेंट का, तो गवर्नमेंट को फिर वो जो एनक्रोच होता है वो इधर पॉलिटिशियन को मैनेज करता है, ब्यूरोक्रेट को मैनेज करता है, और वो काम होता नहीं है। तो हमने बहुत सारी जगह देखा, और हमने ऐसे लोग खड़े किए जो हाई कोर्ट गए, लेकिन हर कोई गांव से हाई कोर्ट नहीं जा सकता, और हाई कोर्ट जाने के बाद भी कई जगह ऐसा हुआ है कि उसके आदेश को नहीं माना तो कोर्ट ऑफ कंडेम लगा और फिर वो दोबारा हुआ। तो मैं ये पूछना चाह रहा था अब सभी पैनलिस्ट से कि इसका सरकार के साथ ऐसा क्या हो कि इसको कॉमन इंटरेस्ट को सरकार सोचे, क्योंकि शहर के बसावट में कहीं कॉमन ज़मीन होती है और उस पर एनक्रोच होते हैं, तो सरकार बड़ी फोर्स के साथ छुड़ाती है, क्योंकि वो सरकार को बड़ा उसका बेनिफिट मिलता है, सरकार को बहुत प्रेशर होता है कि पॉपुलेशन बढ़ रहा है और कुछ हो रहा है। लेकिन गांव में जब लोगों का आजीविका दूर होती है, वो परमानेंट मजदूर बनते हैं, तो वो उनकी जो वॉइस है, एक बहुत गरीबतम परिवार की वॉइस है, वो नहीं सुनी जाती है, और वो लाखों परिवार है, और वो सब शहर में मजदूरी करने जाते हैं, फिर अपना आजीविका खत्म हो जाता है। तो इसका क्या समाधान हो सकता है?
Very important question. Would anyone like to answer?
बहुत अच्छा सवाल था, और ये आज का सवाल नहीं है। प्लेटो ने अपने डिस्कोर्सेस में लिखा है कि इंडिविजुअल वर्सेस पर्टिकुलर वर्सेस जनरल का जो डिस्कोर्स है वो उधर था। हिंदुस्तान के समाज ने, मैं पूरा हिंदुस्तान इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि आपका जो सवाल है वो राजस्थान का, वही सवाल मेरे छत्तीसगढ़ का भी है। हिंदुस्तान के गाँव ने इस सवाल को इस तरह से हल किया है कि हिंदुस्तान में जनरल में जो एक्सेप्टेड वैल्यूज़ हैं उनको पर्टिकुलर में जो एक्सेप्टेड वैल्यूज़ हैं उसके ऊपर तरजीह दिया गया है, प्रेफरेंस दिया गया है। यदि गांव के लोग मिल के ये तय करते हैं कि हम इस जगह पे ये काम नहीं होने देंगे, तो वो काम नहीं होने दिया जाता। अभी भी गांव में ये लार्जली चल रहा है, अनलेस बहुत अर्बनाइजेशन नहीं हो गया हो तो एक वो तरीका है। दूसरा जो आपने कहा वो गवर्नमेंट का, आपके सबके यहाँ पर लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली में एक छोटा एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ। जब हमने कहा कि गौठान को ग्राम सभा में हम एक स्थायी समिति बनाएंगे और दूसरे हमारे जो एक्टिविस्ट साथी बैठे हैं, प्रखर और बाकी दोस्त लोग जो हैं, प्रोटिया सर लोग हैं और सर लोग हमारे बैठे हैं, तो सब लोगों से लंबा विचार विमर्श होने के बाद ये तय किया गया कि ग्राम सभा के द्वारा इलेक्टेड मेंबर इस कमेटी का अध्यक्ष और सरपंच इसका सचिव रहेगा। कैन यू जस्ट इमेजिन दैट? तो पूरी की पूरी ब्यूरोक्रेसी हमारे खिलाफ खड़ी हो गई कि ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है। यदि पीआरआई का हेड सरपंच है तो उसके अंदर में यदि एक कमेटी बैठी है जिसके अंदर में ग्राम सभा के द्वारा इलेक्टेड सपोर्टेड व्यक्ति उसका अध्यक्ष और सरपंच उसका सचिव कैसे हो सकता है? तो ग्रेट डिस्कोर्स वाज टेकन प्लेस। फिर आखिर में ये हुआ कि एक्ट ये कहता है कि ग्राम सभा बड़ी है और ये हमको मौका भी है दिखाने का, तो रेगुलेशन हम चेंज कर सकते हैं, रूल बनाए जा सकते हैं। विधानसभा ने बहुमत से पारित किया और हमारे यहाँ ग्राम पंचायत अधिनियम में हमारे यहाँ ये अमेंडमेंट हुआ। बहुत विरोध हुआ उसका, लेकिन ये हो गया।
Okay, yeah.
I mean, that's a very important question, and in fact, I don't have an answer. Because encroachment is of various kinds, and again, if it is urban areas, because of the increasing land rates and everything, the most powerful people, the real estate people and all that. Peri-urban areas is another kind of, sites and layouts and everything. And in the villages, there are two kind of encroachments, according to my general understanding. One is, again, the, people with all the money, and acres and acres of land in Benami land holdings and everything, even if they do agriculture with mechanized agriculture and everything, but again it is not benefiting the local people. And some amount of encroachment in the villages where people are poor themselves, they didn't have land. Land reform 60s, 70s, everything happened, but then there were some people who were left out and they are cultivating, but it can never be regularized because it is grazing land or it is a lake and a pond land and all that. Like he was saying, of course Gram Sabha is not perfect. I think I didn't get your name. I think he's Mohan Bhai. So our Mohanji said about, of course Gram Sabhas are not perfect. Bureaucrats are not perfect. Politicians are not perfect. There is good and bad in everything. NGOs are not perfect, So at the end of the day, we can't see the world as, hero versus villain, black and white. Everybody, so many times, even the Patwari or the Adhyaksha, Gram Panchayat Adhyaksha, what do you call, Sarpanch. So it's not that, everybody is so very fair. There is caste angle, they would want to benefit a certain caste, they would want to benefit a certain voter base and everything. And everybody, when they're in the opposition, when they're outside the system, they will ask questions. And as soon as they become part of the system, they will kind of get into a role where they want to kind of control, the privileges and give the privileges only for their mutual benefit or in some way. So I think human greed again, so that is making it more and more transparent, putting out information, asking the right questions. And Gram Sabhas, definitely, like you said, that they are not perfect. In an ideal world where school chale hum, some government school child is running to school, it is not that ideal. It's not bad also, but it's not that perfect. So what we have done in Karnataka, in Panchatantra too, each and every Gram Sabha and standing committee meeting, as well as the general body meeting that happens. So the notice is raised from the system. So constantly we know that at least the meetings are happening, because not just even if the meeting happens, only a few members who are positive is brought by the PDO, so that there is no galata that happens there. So what we are doing is that how many people participated, entire attendance and live streaming of the Gram Sabha, issuance of notice, the SMS, alerts that go to the entire, because we have everybody's phone numbers for multiple data in multiple databases now. So we have ensured that through technology, of course it has a long way to go. At least, they're conducting Gram Sabhas instead of not conducting it, giving adequate notice, making it as a public announcement. People are receiving that, Gram Sabha is happening in your Panchayat, Ward Sabha and Gram Sabha at this date, at this time, please attend. And the agenda is also there in that, notice if they click a link and all that. So I think using technology, putting it out there, slowly we have to, arrive towards a more understanding and concerned society where, people are, taking importance of commons over individual benefits. I think it is an evolving system. There is no perfect answer or solution as of now. We have to work towards a solution, which I think we have started.
Thank you. Thank you very much for also summing up some of the things. I know there are 3-4 questions, but then we are eating into the next session. Should I still take a few more?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Sajal, you were waiting, then you and Anita. We just take 3 quick questions.
Yeah, but
Is it, you got the answer. Okay. Sir, you.
So, Thanks, panelist. I'm Dr. GPS Jala from सेवामंदी राजस्थान. मेरा प्रश्न तो नहीं है, सुझाव है प्रदीप जी से कि आज की तारीख में युवा हमारा कॉमन्स के साथ नहीं जुड़ पा रहा है. युवा ऑलमोस्ट माइग्रेट कर रहा है गांव से. तो क्या स्ट्रैटेजी, क्या रणनीति हो सकती है कि युवा को हम जोड़ पाएँ कॉमन्स के साथ में या चारागाह के साथ में. दूसरा, जितना अभी प्रोजेक्ट्स आ रहा है, प्लांटेशन कार्बन फॉरेस्ट्री प्रोजेक्ट आ रहा है हमारे स्टेट में, अभी रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी का जो सोलर प्रोजेक्ट आ रहे हैं, तो बहुत प्रेशर है ग्रेजिंग लैंड पे, चारागाहों पे, कॉमन लैंड पे ही, ओरण पे ही प्रेशर है कि वो ज़मीन एक्वायर हो रही है उस तरीके से. तो क्या लेजिटिमेसी है या क्या किस तरह से कानून के रूप में उसका ला सकते हैं. तीसरा, मैडम शिल्पा से था कि मैडम से कि यू आर सेइंग दैट नाउ 63% बजट इज़ कमिटेड फॉर द NRM sector. But across the state, we will see the almost funds are utilizing for this infrastructure, CC road, ये सब के लिए हो रहा है. There is no any budgets is allocated for the arable.
Durable assets are not being created.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, let me take, sir, let me take Dr. Anita's question also, and then maybe Vivekanand sir, you could answer the youth question because I think this has come up as a new element here. Anita?
Yeah, I can just shout, it's fine.
Somebody, please give us.
we can hear you.
मेरे ये था कि देर इज़ अ लॉट ऑफ हाँ ना एक मिनट.
Hi, I won't take very much time. I'm just curious to, I've just been wondering if there are any provisions for migrating pastoralists to access the commons that you are talking about. Okay, you know, it's great that these initiatives are being taken care of with regard to village commons. But what about nomadic pastoralists, migrating pastoralists who come from other states? Is there any way in which, you know, there is thought to convenience them? Yeah.
And then Vivekanand sir.
Migrants are the citizens of our country and we have an open border. So basically, unless there is some local politics of, you know, caste-based discrimination or any such thing or kind of suspicion, you know, so many times migrating people look at them with suspicion for many things. So unless that is not there, legally, absolutely, they can access each, you know, drinking water well, any pond, you know, any area, grazing land and everything, they can definitely access. In the form of social, you know, sort of restrictions, which is informal and which is not related to law, may happen, and definitely I think the community as well as the local level officials should ensure that it doesn't happen, and they have to be given equal access.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it'll be great if you can create some kind of data on this, you know, so we are more aware of what actually is happening. Yeah.
Wonderful. I think that is something which we hadn't looked at. Thanks for that. I think we'll work on that.
On the youth one.
ये है कि if you really माइक में चल रहा है ऐसे ठीक. यदि आप जो भी आपका कॉमन्स का काम है ना, उसको यदि इकोनॉमिकली आप वायबल बनाते हैं तो युवा उस पर जुड़ जाते हैं. हमारा एग्जांपल है, हमारे यहाँ 2 लाख महिलाएं काम कर रही हैं और सभी युवा हैं. और जो हमारे यहाँ जो ये जो शेफर्ड्स हैं जो काम करते हैं, जो गांव का गोबर गौठान में आता है वो सब शेफर्ड का होता है. एक शेफर्ड हमारे यहाँ पर गौठान में गाय को ला के बैठाने के बाद 15,000 रुपये महीने में कमाता है, क्योंकि गोबर उसका है, तो वो उसमें शामिल है. यदि आप उसको इकोनॉमिकली वायबल कर देते हैं तो वो शामिल हो जाता है. दैट्स इट.
Yeah, regarding youth and this, you know, this pastoralism, see nowadays youth are not much interested to continue their traditional pastoralism, what their parents they have been doing, you know, because the parents also discourage. Please don't come and take up this our traditional job. You please get educated and go on elsewhere. So that's the trend is happening everywhere. But how to attract and how to see that they get some good income, and so that we are working out, and with the value addition of livestock products, how they become a good entrepreneur. So that way we have to look into it. And again, the common lands being taken up for plantation and even this renewable project like this solar project or wind farms, many things, they're being converted. Even this afforestation program, this under climate mitigation, they're simply telling, so we have to green that area in lakhs of hectares, millions of hectares. That is the world, it's everywhere it's going on. But planting trees, afforestation rangeland is not a good practice. So now UNCCD has come out with a report, and they are circulating and see that that rangelands are that it should be conserved as such, and it's not a degraded forest for afforestation. So the reforestation we have to do with the people, this community's participation, to see that whatever that local that native species, it is good for that local area, that we have to discuss and we have to come out. So that should be our approach. But still, forest department, we have to take it up at policy level. So that's why that national pasture and policy is being worked out, and see that even this migratory route of that nomadic communities, it should be formalized. See, during rainy season, they will go to the hills. During harvest, after harvest of the crop is over, they will come to the plains. So these are all some certain, they are they are coinciding with that ecology, local environment, and they are helpful to the farming community. So that we have to see it is a very sustainable practice, and it is a good, and we have to formally approve that that's a nomadism or this migratory route. Then only they have that rights. Even sometimes the local this panchayat, the local Gram Sabha, they will not allow to pass the resolution to come and graze their common lands. But as per that Forest Rights Act, so those who have been three generations, they have been doing as a pastoralist, nomadic style, they have the rights. So that we have to still formalize, and we have to come out with the good policies, and we have to convince.
I'm very sorry. I will have to forcibly close the discussion. And thank you for this very engaging discussion with all of you. And also, I won't stop you. And thank you very much. We'll close the session. Yeah.
Bhavna, Dimple, can you please?
Okay, we have some small gifts for you. Yeah,
I think this discussion needs at least 2 days. Because there are so many things which, because there are multiple stakeholders and this kind of networking is quite rare. We are only in our official spaces and everything.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, ma'am, please.
No, I would just want to say two words. And first of all, thank you so much for inviting, because, we are always in firefighting mode in the district. And sometimes just getting away from the district kind of gives us time to think. And this is a very nice platform where there are multiple stakeholders. And just a bureaucracy-ridden feedback system, I personally hate it. Criticism, please criticize. That is how we learn. And thank you so much, organizers, FES and other organizers. And thanks to all of you, I think I learned a lot as well. And there is a new brotherhood and network now. And I know who come from where. And definitely, if anybody is welcome to Chamrajnagar to come and work with us in whatever capacity. And we are open. And we welcome all of you. Just do come. And any NGOs, any experts, scientists who want to help us out in multiple things, right from data to technology, to, kind of community organization or whatever, we are open. Thank you.
Is there some specialty about the shawl?
That I don't know about it much. And to Bhavna from me. I'm.
Yeah.
Hello. Request all participants to go at the 1:30. At 1:30 at the lunchtime at the atrium for the group photos over there. 1:30 to 1:40, that's a 2 slot. Like, we'll be having group photos there at the lunchtime. So 1:30 near the Ambedkar statue at the atrium.
1:30, 1:40, 1:50.
Yeah, 10, 2 slots are there. Thank you.
And it was very nice listening to you. Thank you. I had a good time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Congratulations. Very well. Engaging session.